Everyone, hope you all are doing good. In this video we will cover the topic kiln lining, means lining of the rotary kiln with refractories. As you all know, the rotary kiln is a cylindrical shape made up of steel shell, and it is operating at very high temperature. It needs to be lined with refractory lining so that the steel shell is protected, and depending upon the quality of the refractories used for lining the refractory shell, the operational time the operational time of the rotary kiln depends on the quality of the kiln lining. Means if you want to produce large amount of cement on the single lining without rechanging the lining, you need to spend more money on the quality of refractory brick. And one more aspect which is related to this lining, an economical aspect, is that when you shut down your plant for relining of the refractory lining or repairing of any refractory lining that has been damaged, you are actually causing loss when you shut down the plant. So it is not very economical to shut down frequently and redo the lining. Hence it is better to spend more on refractory quality and have a long running refractory to have good economy. So the function of refractory lining is to protect the kiln shell from the influence of flame and of the hot kiln feed, and reduction of heat losses caused by radiation and convection of rotary kiln cell. So as you know, the main purpose of lining the refractory kiln is to protect the shell from the hot flame and the hot kiln feed. The flame, as you know, there is a burner inside the rotary kiln, and the raw material which is coming inside the rotary kiln is also at a very high temperature when we are using a preheater and pre-calciner. And another function of refractory lining is to prevent heat loss. Means the heat which is generated inside rotary kiln should stay inside rotary kiln. There should not be any leakage of the heat to keep it to have economy, heat economy. So the demand made on kilns refractory depend on following properties. These are the properties on which you decide, by which you decide which refractory to use in the rotary kiln. As you know, there are various zones, temperature zones in rotary kiln, like drying zone, preheating zone, then you have calcining zone, burning zone. And the material, the shell material is same all the way in all the zones, and there is different temperature zones, hence different refractory will be used in different zone. So it is not only one kind of refractory you will need in the whole rotary kiln. You will need a variety of refractories in different zones. So to decide on which refractory to use, you need to see these properties, like you have to see mechanical strength, as the material is being fed into the rotary kiln from some height. The material is fed from some height, and the refractories need to withstand that mechanical strength. Then refractoriness, since the rotary kiln is operating at very high temperature and there is certain amount of material which is inside, which is lying on the refractories, it need to withstand the refractories need to withstand this high temperature plus high load, hence this is also important. Then again, next one is resistance to thermal change. As you know, there are different zones in the rotary kiln. There will be a variation in temperature. And one more thing is, in rotary kiln, suppose this red thing is the raw material. This is the surface of the rotary kiln. This is the raw material, and this yellow lines are the hot gases. Now in rotary kiln, what is happening is all the refractories except for this part is exposed to hot kiln gases, right? And only this part of the refractories are covered with the kiln feed. Hence all these refractories which are exposed to this hot gases are at very high temperature, and only this part, only these refractories are covered with the raw material and hence are at low temperature. And since this is rotating, this refractory lines will keep interchanging. Now this will go upside and it will become hot again, and this hot refractory lining, when it is covered with the feed material, it will get cold. Hence there is a great amount of thermal shock in rotary kiln refractories. Then there is also thermal expansion and stability of volume, since it is an cylindrical circular thing, rotary kiln. It is a complicated thing to line the refractories inside the rotary kiln, and hence you need to have thermal expansion and volume stability. All these things should be considered. Then there is thermal conductivity. You don't want the heat to go outside, hence you need a refractory material which can keep the heat inside the rotary kiln. Then you have resistance to abrasion, since this material, since this rotary kiln is continuously rolling, this material is continuously sliding on the refractory lining, hence there is a lot of abrasion in the which is happening on the refractory lining. Then there is last thing, which is porosity, which is very much interrelated to many of the properties like mechanical strength, thermal conductivity and all, which needs to be taken care of. Then installing a refractory lining in rotary kiln, you have actually 3 ways in which you can do it. One is brick lining with mortar, then you have dry lining, then you have adhesive method. So in brick lining with mortar, what you do is you take mortar is nothing but refractory high temperature cement. Say you take that cement, you take refractory brick and you line half semicircle first of the rotary kiln. Then you place a screw jack which will hold this refractory only at the ends, and these are all when the cement sets, they will all stick to the surface. Then this screw jack is holding this last 2 refractories, and they are all in compaction. All this stressed in means they are all in stress, they are all compacted, means there is a pressure from here also and here also, hence they are held tight together, and only these 2 refractories at the end are fixed with screw jacks. Okay, then when this semicircle is completed, this rotary kiln is tilted to 90 degrees, and again it is lined here. Then the screw jack is placed here, you can see in this figure. Then after this the rotary kiln is tilted to another 90 degree, and rest of the refractories are lined here. Okay. So there are 2 ways in which this refractory can be lined. One is longitudinal way and another is ring formation. You can see here in this diagram, the refractories are lined in this longitudinal direction. This is lined in this way. First the semicircle is done, then it is rotated and another semicircle is completed. But in ring formation, you form first ring first completely, then second ring completely, then third ring completely. In this way you move forward. In ring formation, there is an important thing which is called key brick, which is placed at the last brick which you are placing when you complete the ring. When the last brick which you are placing is called key brick. So that is a very important thing. When you place that key brick, you will remove all the screw jacks, which you will see in next slide. In dry installation, you are not using any adhesive or any cementing material in order to paste the refractory to the surface of the shell. You are directly screwing all this refractory to the shell at the first. Initially you are screwing them, you are using screw jacks to screw them to the surface. Then once they all are lined, only one gap is remaining. You fix that gap with a key brick. Now when this key brick is fixed, all these refractories are tight and are in compression. So when you remove this screw also, they will not fall down because they are in compression. They are all tightly fixed when you fix the key brick, and the key brick should be very accurate in size so that it fits correctly and all the refractories are in compression, or they are fixed very tightly. Okay, they are very tightly fixed to each other. So in this way the dry installation is done without any cementing material or any adhesive. Then the next thing is adhesive method. So what happens is, when the diameter of rotary kiln is very large, so doing this becomes very tedious. It is pretty much a very large rotary kiln in this figure, but it becomes difficult when you are when you are lining a refractory when you are laying refractory in a very large rotary kiln. You need to use some adhesive. So what happens here is some adhesive is used for lining refractories. You can see here, you can see this zigzag portion. These are the refractories which are pasted using adhesive to the surface of the shell. Now this part is fixed, means it is pasted, it is glued to the surface using some additives. These are the refractories which are not glued, they are in tension. First this is done, then these refractories are also laid. So what happens, because these are fixed, this is fixed, and when you when you place the refractories here, they will be in compression and they will be tight without any glue here. They are placed between these two layers of refractory. I hope you understand what I am trying to say. So in this method, the glue used can be epichlorohydrin or diphenyl propane. So these are some resins which are used for gluing the refractories here, and only 20 to 30% of the brick along the kiln circumference are epoxied, means only 20 to 30% are glued, rest of them are under compression and they are tightly fixed under compression and they are not glued. So these were the three ways or three methods in which the refractory lining can be done in rotary kiln. And some types of the kinds of refractories which are used in lining the rotary kiln are for example, in United States, a 4.85 into 75 m preheater kiln is lined with refractory. Means 4.85 is the diameter and 75 meter is the length of the rotary kiln, and it is lined throughout with 230 mm thickness, that is 23 centimeters. The 3 meter, first 3 meter, that is from the discharge, means at the burning zone. From the discharge zone, the 3 meter is, suppose, so this is your rotary kiln, this is your burner here. Wait, so this is your burner here. So this part near the burner, 3 meters is fire clay with 70% alumina with high resistance to abrasion. Okay. Then another next 25 meters is magnesite brick with 80% MgO, possibly chrome magnesite or also dolomite. So next 25 meter is this. The next 21 meter is fire clay, that is 70% alumina. Then next 26 meter is 50% alumina, that is at this where the raw material, actually it should be tilted in this direction. the rotary kiln should be tilted in this direction. Here should be the burner and the raw material comes from here. Okay, so this is, so in the in this another set of refractory bricks which can be used in rotary kiln are shown. The following shows the lining of a wet process rotary kiln. So here you are seeing a dry process manufacturing where we are using preheaters. When we are using preheater, the length of the kiln is very short and the material which is entering the rotary kiln is at 800 degrees Celsius. Okay, so here in wet process the material is entering in the form of slurry, and the length of the kiln is also very long. That is, you can see here it is 129 meters actually, and the thickness is 100 mm. Okay, the thickness of the refractory line. The first 3 meters will be fire clay with 70% alumina, then next 18 meters will be magnesite brick, 80% MgO, possibly chrome magnesite. Then next 15 meters will be fire clay, then next 35 meters will also be fire clay with 60% alumina, next 35 meters will be 50% alumina. The next 15 meters would be castable refractory, and next the first initial 8 meters will be black zone. So this is the refractory. So in this area 8 meters will be black zone, then the 15 meter will be castable refractory, then 35 meter will be fire clay, 35 fire clay, 15 fire clay, then comes 18, and then at the last 3 meter. So I hope this topic is completed, and I hope you have understood this topic. If you have any doubt, you can contact me and I'll try to clear your doubts. Thank you.